What makes the gruesome and visceral combat in Space Marine 2 so enjoyable? Past the bloody visual effects that take me right back to playing Gears of War 1 for the first time. Amid the carnage, there's a really satisfying system that keeps you engaged by constantly allowing you to fight back from the brink of death. Just when you think it might be over, you trigger an execution, regenerating armor, and immediately turning the battle in your favor. It's a lesson to always keep fighting because it's not over until it's over. The game has difficulty settings, so this is based on my experience in the veteran difficulty, which is second to the hardest difficulty, Angel of Death. I highly recommend veteran for anyone with a lot of third-person shooter experience. It's challenging but very winnable once you get the hang of it. Default controls on mouse and keyboard kind of suck, so mess around with those. I like aiming with a mouse, so it took some adjusting, but it was worth it. Controller was much easier to pick up and play. Also, the default FOV is very tight. Until the devs patch the game, there's an FOV mod on Nexus by Diodus you can download, and it works really well. What I love about this game is that it reminds me of two of my favorites, Bloodborne and Doom Eternal. The game heavily rewards aggressive gameplay. As you lose health, you can gain it back by dealing damage and triggering executions. When you kill a major enemy, it will also stun nearby minor enemies. In a lot of games, more often than not, you want to focus down as first before dealing with majors, but in this game that seems to rarely be the case. It can really help sometimes to ignore ads and focus on the big guys. You can quickly get overrun by totally ignoring them, but keep it in mind when you see an opportunity to finish off a big baddie. Gunstrikes are incredibly satisfying as well. On the veteran difficulty and above, you absolutely need to lean into the parry mechanics. The best offense is a good defense or something. I swear this might be one of the only ways to survive some encounters. It's worth it to learn, and it's really fun to pull off a bunch of them in a fight. If the Gunstrike kills the enemy, it will regenerate armor like a normal execution. Gunstrikes are much faster and more fluid, but you don't get the iframes like you do from executions. When surrounded, opt for the full execution to avoid damage and gather your breath for a moment. In the campaign, Titus gets access to Righteous Fury, which pushes enemies back, increasing your damage, and it starts regenerating your health. Co-op gives you 6 classes to choose from, each with unique abilities like the Grapnel Launcher and the Jump Pack. I'll admit I haven't tested any of these in PvP, but in PvE, each class has their strengths and weaknesses. In a 3-man squad, you can only have one of each class. I think this forces a fun balance and cohesiveness for the team, but it's a little annoying when you and your friend want to play the same class. There's progression for both your classes and your weapons, increasing your effectiveness as you gain experience. It's a standard system, but it functions well as intended. This game was clearly designed with the future in mind. I think it will be awesome to watch this game grow as they add new operations, new classes, and new weapons to slaughter with. Warhammer has been a universe I've wanted to dive into for a long time, and I think this is a great first start.